And welcome back to South American Contenders. I'm your host, Green Havoc, and we have our final game of the day, and it is a big one. Both of these teams, with the right win, can jump all the way up to third and avoid the first place team from Group B. So there is a lot of the line. For Quad Gaming, they're going to need a 4-0. For TSN, it really just comes down to, well, get a win. So I've got my analysts back on this desk. I've got Frito, I've got Paulsville, and we're going to break down this game and get into the gritty details on how these teams jump into third place. And so, Frito, let's start with you. TSN, what did they need to do, and how are you doing?
I'm doing great. TSN probably isn't doing so great after last week's pretty rough loss in the fifth map against INS. We did see earlier in the day. INS, not the strongest team in the group, and Suquinho Nation is a team that coming out week one strong with a 4-0 victory over X10. We thought, man, these guys, they're the real deal. Their mechanics seem to pop off the screen, and they seem to be a team that, at least for individual play, can definitely take it to the top level teams in this group. However, then the rest of the weeks played out, and including last week's rough loss, their team play often seems to come apart at the seams, where they're either their ult economy or their setups, their combos, those areas of the GOATS meta as we know it, they don't seem to shine oftentimes and look to be stronger even when they're playing some of the non-top of the meta comps, like with DPS involved. But it leaves TSN in a weird spot where they try to run GOATS, and I don't know if it always works out for them. And up against Quad, I think they might see a bit of a struggle, because Quad plays GOATS pretty reliably, and we may have to see TSN go to some of those DPS picks to enable some of their star players, unless their teamwork has seen a resurgence than from the previous weeks. Because last week, I have to think they're on a bit of a downer after a rough 5-map loss to INS Gaming.
Yeah, and that's what set them up to be in this position where they could be eliminated. So, Paulsville, walk me through the steady hand and the GOATS play of Quad Gaming.
Well, Quad Gaming, it's like Frito said, it's a very simple way to sum them up, right? They are a GOATS team. They're pretty decent at it. Not outstanding. They're no base tryhards, right? But they put on a GOATS that you can look at and say, yes, this is a GOATS comp, right? They have some standout players on this lineup that could pop off on other roles. Godman has a very good Pharah, XQC on a budget, great name by the way, or Stro as he's more commonly known in the South America scene. Fairly solid main tank, but they've yet to show us anything beyond ordinary. And against TSN, if TSN come out the way we want them to come out with those star players, those star performances, Quad Gaming could get rolled over here.
All right, so it's about staying together and being Quad Gaming. Run that GOATS, keep it proficient. They've got to get a 4-0 if they want to dodge fourth place, so that is what's on their mind. TSN just need to win. We've got a couple of new casters on the casting desk for this game. We've got Katrina, we've got Jamerson, and this game is on over to you. Have a good one with it.
All right, thank you so much, guys. And so, yeah, it's Jamerson here. It's going to be joined by Katrina for this next match. And this is huge playoff implications, because the winner of this is going to walk away either the third or fourth position coming in from the groups. And Katrina, I mean, the desk set it up expertly. There's so much on the line.
There's absolutely so much. It's going to be really important as well to see the map differential between these two teams to avoid, most likely, LFT Owl coming in from the other group. They want to be able to avoid this team, which most likely will be in the finals.
Yeah, I mean, both teams are currently 1-3 right now, but it is TSN that does have that edge in the map differential. And so, like the desk had said, Quad need a win, and they need it with the 4-0 if they want to stay out of the fourth seed position, which, of course, if you're in the fourth seed position, means you face off against the first seed. Now, LFTOWL, or LFT Owl, is an absolutely secured for first, but I don't want to curse anything. They're pretty much locked in for that position.
Yes, that's a pretty fair assumption, but Quad is going to have a bit of difficulty getting a 4-0 victory. However, TSN has recently been weakened, having lost their star DPS player in Lubak, who had amazing plays throughout the first couple of weeks in South American Contenders. He is now on base tryhards and is truly influencing on that Brigitte to an amazing extent. So I'm curious to see if TSN will be able to recover from their difficult loss last week against INS, who actually did lose in their own 2-3 loss to Quad in week 1. So we'll see if those map differentials can play out for them.
And you brought up a great point because they did lose Lubak, but this week it looks like they are going to be fielding a new player in Spider Agony coming in. We're not entirely too sure which role he's going to fill, but apparently last time he played, it was flanking DPS role or something, I believe season 2. And so we'll see if that mixes up anything. Now we are going to be loading on to the first map here in this very important season. A very important match for these two teams as we load up onto Ilios. It's going to be well, and we got to see a lot of environmental kills earlier. Nego Fist and Ponchi coming up from both sides. I mean, are these Lucios that are very impactful, Katrina?
Yes, I would say so, especially with Nego Fist. He's always giving that speed boost available to those Reinhardts. However, I'm curious to see Darkin, who is typically on that Zarya, playing this McCree, so he might be anticipating Quad Gaming coming out with Godman's favorite Pharah. However, Quad will be running that very traditional triple tank, triple support GOATS composition with XQC on a budget on his favored Reinhardt.
Yeah, and so right now, both teams just kind of playing the merry-go-round here. It looks like Suquinho Nation trying their best, TSN, just to avoid the Rhine Goats coming out from Quad Gaming because they don't want that Reinhardt right up on them, getting the swings off. But they're trying their best as the point has unlocked. They're now once again just rotating around. The Orisian barrier is down, and Godman has to get back to his team. But here's the halt. No punish quite yet, and here's the rotation coming out from Quad Gaming. They're on top of that Orisa, but the Fortify keeps Jules up, and he's able to back away, slowly cutting away now, as the point is still being contested in favor currently of Quad Gaming, but the Rhine barrier is going down, and so they can pressure if they want Suquinho Nation. Darkin, still with this McCree, has gotten some good damage down. It's going to be Dagostim to take out XQC on a budget, and with that, Suquinho Nation will be able to clean up Quad Gaming and take control of the point.
Yes, XQC on the budget was not being able to get the heals that he needed coming in from Spider Agony, so far away from the rest of Quad Gaming, Ponchi and Godman. However, as we do look at this next round, Darkin does have that Deadeye available with De La Vigne, who is typically on the DPS role, but due to Spider Agony's more comfort pick, will be swapping over to the Zenyatta due to Renkiyoshi's absence from today's game. However, with that Transcendence built up, he's been very impactful. Ram is only at...
Now we saw the kiting coming up, but oh, they're going to be able to shut down that Earth Shatters. XQC on a budget just gets stunned on up. 2 kills already going over for Suquinho Nation, and with that, it's going to be a quick reset as Ponchi sends himself into the middle of that well. And now Suquinho Nation already at 36%, still ticking up. And you know what? They had 2 ultimates. They used 2 ultimates, and they cleaned that up. And so for the next fight, they're going to have the bongos. They're going to have the self-destruct. Quad Gaming now, they're going to swap off because that Reinhardt, he already blew his load with that Earth Shatter. Now XQC goes over to the Winston.
Even though XQC on a budget does prefer playing this Reinhardt, there is going to be a lot of impact for this new tank, especially against Darkin. Being able to dive onto the McCree and negate his impact will be a win condition for XQC on the budget as he jumps in.
He's got to be careful, though. He jumps on in. The rally's going to be popped. Everything is used, and Quad Gaming force them off the point. They'll be able to take, and they even take down that bongo, but it's going to be Darkin with the burst damage. He's got all the help there, but now the self-destruct comes on now. They're going to be able to kite away from this. No one falls down to it now, but they are separated just a little bit. Great flashbang to disengage, get them away from them, and now you have to remember that Quad Gaming did take control of the point, and so even though Suquinho Nation are going to win out this fight, it was Quad Gaming that came up with 21%.
Yes, Darkin got the amazing first pick onto Agus, who had just charged up that Graviton Surge, leading to Suquinho Nation being able to retake this point relatively quickly. We are in last fight territory, and Quad Gaming has a very important ultimate in that Graviton Surge with XQC also having that Primal Rage. However, with Darkin once again using that Deadeye, we could see a bit of negation, and Dagostim is one of the best at eating all of these Graviton Surges, so Agus is going to have to be extremely careful.
Oh, they are just walking them down now right into the corner. Here comes the Graviton Surge, but Darkin with a huge Deadeye. Nego Fist with that boop onto Godman. It's going to be Suquinho Nation once again winning out a clean team fight here. They just need to clean up the last members as overtime ticks away, and the first point should go to TSN. And it was almost a very easy affair for them as we head into the second point.
Yes, very convincing victory coming in from TSN. Darkin especially has been standing out on this DPS role. This is exactly what TSN needs to reestablish their identity within South American contenders, having lost that star DPS in Lubbock, and expect to see Darkin shining as we go over to Ruins, but it does look like they will be running more of the GOATS composition on the side of TSN. I'll be curious to see if Quad decides to switch things up, as Agus has a phenomenal Widowmaker, and Widowmaker sightlines are brilliant on this map of Ilios on Ruins. So it does look, though, that both teams will be running mirror matchups.
So mirror matchups, so we got the Reinhardt Zen coming out. And so nothing really interesting, nothing changing really coming out from this, but we have to really see the cooldown managements, how the Zarya barriers are used, how the Lucio amped ups are going to be used here. As Suquinho are going to use the inside track, make their way onto the point here, while Quad Gaming just read it and go on the outside. But they have to be careful. They're backed up into a corner. Darkin is here stuck in a corner. So if they amp it up and speed boost onto them, they do have the initiative. But no, they're just going to swing for the fences here. Charge comes out, but XQC does not get anything with it. No, they do come up with one as Jules has gone down. And so they have the man advantage. Again, Suquinho Nation just not in that favorable position. Packing themselves up into a corner there is going to allow Quad Gaming to win out this fight. They just need to clean up a few more members.
Look at how much XQC on a budget has been enabled. He's already at 80% to that Earthshatter as compared to Jules' 45. Massive ultimate advantages coming into this next fight, and especially on Ruins, it is so vital to take this first point, not only for ultimate charge, but because of how close they can reach this spawn on defense.
Yeah, and we're also talking about how close they can try and run to their spawn, but that works out against them. A little bit of miscoordination coming out from that amp it up as they were trying to get on to Suquinho Nation, who are rotating into the point now. And now Ram does pick up Jules, but still they have lost so many members here. It's going to be easy cleanup for Suquinho Nation. As Quad Gaming, they only get 31% here. Suquinho Nation, they're going to go ahead and fall back and get Jules back into this fight now. But there's some huge ultimates coming online for Quad Gaming.
Yes, both sides will have a variety of ultimates to use. However, Quad Gaming is almost at that 6-pack full of ultimates. The rally will come in from both sides, though, providing all of that extra armor.
The Warhorns are sound, and XQC tries to go for that flanking Earthshatter, but does not connect. The self-destruct will not net anything either, but here we go. Graviton surges as both members are within arm's reach. It's Jules who's able to swing on Godman, taking him out. Jules dropped down low as Leon tries to aggress onto him, but he is going to be backed up by his team. And with that, Suquinho Nation, TSN still keeping this alive. They're going to be able to use that sound barrier just to finish this off. They're going to force them back 40% under their belts.
I would just love to highlight how patient Nugofthus was with that sound barrier, waiting at least another 10 seconds after Ponchi had released his own due to those Graviton surges. But oh my goodness, that patience allowed Suquinho Nation to build up to over 50%, and there's plenty of more ultimates coming up on the defensive side, especially with Spider Agony going to be able to provide even more armor. Look at Godman, only a 30% charge.
Self-destruct and Earthshatter on the board for TSN here, so you have to be careful. Remember, this is the brig that can still shatter or still bash through the shield, and so XQC on a budget has to be careful with his positioning. Earthshatter comes out, connects onto 3, and they're gonna charge on forward as the Transcendence is used by Ram. And oh no, that is not looking good for Quad Gaming here as they get cleaned up. That was a Transcendence they want to hold on to for this final push.
Yes, and with a team kill, that's going to even reset the clock even more as we are at 90%. Suquinho Nation is about to take Ilios 2-0 unless Quad Gaming is able to reach this point. We're now at 94. The Doomfist does come out, but Godman's taken out.
And now they are fighting into a 6v5. Earthshatter finally does connect for XQC on a budget, but they can't do anything as Dagger's team just slows down that mech on top of them. And it's going to be another clean team fight for TSM. This map, Ilios going completely their way. Overtime ticks away. And Suquinho strike first blood.
Yes, Jules especially was enabled so well by TSN on that Reinhardt specifically. That sneaky Earthshatter is in my dreams. I swear I will never be able to do that. But Jamerson, that was classic. Just waiting behind that one area, getting that shatter, getting the team kill immediately. Brilliant gameplay, but also that charge allowing Dago's team to get the kill onto XQC on a budget with his respective Reinhardt at the end of the round, really solidifying TSN's victory on Ilios.
We were talking about this in the week leading up to this matchup. about how sometimes XQC on a budget just doesn't really, well, he does live up to the name because his Reinhardt does leave a little bit to be desired. And, you know, he goes for these flank plays and it doesn't ever really work out for him. And we got to see it right there. This was just basically a case in which he just didn't do it again. But let's move on to the next map. And so already TSN has got a great 1-0 lead. Remember, any victory for them moves them forward. And that will put them, of course, I believe into third going into this. But now these are two teams that are pretty different in how they want to play out, of course, their hybrid maps. TSN favors Numbani, while Quad Gaming favors Hollywood. What do you think is going to happen coming into this next map?
So because Quad does have the choice, I would not be surprised if we do see us go to Hollywood. However, that does give a lot of opportunities for TSN to once again show their prowess on this GOATS composition. Even though this team can have a wide variety of options in terms of their compositions, they have just showed dominance on Ruins in that head-to-head mirror matchup battle. And I think right now that is a major advantage in the head game. Overwatch is so important to keep a mental fortitude when you are playing. So right now, TSN is winning in that specific battle.
Yeah, we saw there. I mean, there was really only one kind of mistake, blunder made by TSN, and it was at the beginning of Ruins, where they just backed themselves into a corner and allowed Quad to run up to them. And that's something you don't want to do, right? That's the point of the Lucio in this composition. You're supposed to be able to kite away or engage on people, but instead backing themselves in the corner. But throughout the rest of the matchup, they were superb in their target coordination, and of course just taking out XQC on a budget. And so yeah, it is going to be Hollywood coming out from Quad Gaming. This is going to be the fourth time that they play it throughout the season. They played Numbani earlier on, but so far they only have a 33% win rate on it, even though Hollywood's been their pick every single time. And as you had mentioned, you know, you want to see more GOATs, it looks like, coming out from Quad. What is your prediction for this map?
I think it's going to be really important for XQC on a budget to be a bit more conservative with his Reinhardt gameplay, especially for taking that first control area, utilizing the corners extremely strategically, being a bit more slow, allowing those Brigittas and Lucios to build up ultimates so that you can truly initiate. I think that's going to be the key to Quad Gaming's victory here, patience. So I wouldn't be surprised, though, if we do see a little bit more creativity on their defense. They do favor Afara. So I have seen them bring that out on Hollywood once before, especially as we go further and further into the map. So don't be shocked to see a couple of surprises or niche picks.
Yeah. I mean, you also mentioned, well, in our discussions beforehand, that Widowmaker was also in play for Quad Gaming. And so as we all are pretty familiar with Hollywood at this point, second is a Widowmaker's playground. So that is also a possibility coming out from Quad. Now, one thing we really kind of glossed over, we talked about it at the beginning of the matchup, was Spider Agony coming in. What did you think of Spider Agony on that Brigitte role for the most part when they were on Ruins?
I think that he did fine. I think that he allowed the area of effect healing to be very capable, rallies at excellent timing. Just so far has been a solid addition. I have been more focusing on De La Vigne, on that Zenyatta, as Rankyoshi, who is one of the main stars of TSN, is the player missing, and De La Vigne is filling in those massive shoes, and I have been extremely impressed at his Discord prioritization. Suquinho has been able to communicate and deal with these changes very rapidly, at least so far on Ilios. So right now, that is my player to watch.
That is very important. I mean, we've seen so many DPS players having to fall back into the flex support role, going over to Zenyatta, because, well, the skill sets kind of do transfer over. As we load up onto Hollywood, it is going to be Quad Gaming on the attack first. They are just going to go standard GOATs here. It's a mirror matchup once again, and so we have to look at the matchup. Jules versus XQC on a budget. Which Reinhardt can stay alive? No, which Reinhardt gets the prioritization. Jules is dropped a little low, and the amp is used by Negofist just to actually keep Jules up here. And so there is a moment for Quad Gaming. They're going to amp it up. They're going to go in. They got the speed boost. They're on top of Jules, but it's Godman who is in front of that shield. Agush brings it back, though, with the 2-for-2 exchange here. And so there's an opportunity for Quad Gaming, but as they lose the mech on Leon, that's going to be the reset coming out from Quad Gaming.
I'm a little disappointed in Agus having used his bubbles at the exact same time for both him and XQC on the budget. Got a lot of charges, you can tell. However, XQC on the budget had no security once his shield did wear down, but they are finally returning as their spawn differ. Oh, here comes the grab.
Grav connects onto almost everyone except for Leon, who is still running back from spawn, but I'm pretty sure he would get caught in it too. And so that's already 3 members of Quad going down, and they're looking for more. Goose is not going to be able to build up any of this energy, and so that's why right now he's sitting at 95%. Darkin, he wants to try and lap him on these Gravitons.
He might very well have a chance, already building up to 40 on his next one. That was shocking how quickly Darkin was able to charge such a key ultimate. But even more importantly, Suquinho was able to levy out their resources a bit more with Dagosteam and Jules saving those Earth Shatters, which comes out now.
It only connects onto a Goose, but that is a huge target to try and take out of the fight. Now the Transcendence is used, and he will be able to stay up, and it's going to be Jules that gets punished, and instantly XQC on a budget knows he has to go for that Shatter. But here's the Graviton Surge coming up from Darkin. He did lap him with that Graviton, and with the self-destruct, it connects, takes out 3. TSN, hold on to the point.
Dagosteam is not always known for his aggressive gameplay, but boy oh boy is he proving everybody wrong today with that triple kill coming in. However, Pachi and Ram doubled up on their support ultimates, the Transcendence and Sound Barrier coming out at the same time with Godman following up very quickly with his own rally. So bit of a mismanagement of support ultimates really did bite Quad Gaming at that last fight, but Darkin is at 80%. Is he going to lap Agus one more time?
Oh, this is not looking great. They're looking for an engagement right now, but they don't have any support ultimates. TSN, they're gonna go ahead and drop another Graviton Surge. It does connect. Goose is low as the self-destruct comes on out. The charge actually takes De Levine out of the fight, who had used that Transcendence, so XQC gets nothing of it. Dagosteam will get taken out of his mech, but they lose XQC on a budget for that, and Spider Agony cleaning up Pachi now. It's gonna be another Graviton Surge, possibly. Darkin's at 40% as Agus goes down, and oh my goodness, the ratio to Gravitons between these two teams, it is absurd.
It is hurting right now for Quad Gaming as Agus is only at 53, Darkin is at 63, but remember, Darkin has used 3 more Gravitons in this single round. We do have some ultimates online for both sides. I'm watching for this Reinhardt battle, which Earthshatter will be successful as we do move on to this next fight, potentially our last fight.
Most importantly, though, TSN, they do not have any support ultimates except for the rally, and that is not something you really want. And oh, the Earthshatter gets shut down. Jules gets shield bashed in mid-animation, and now they're going to push forward with that Transcendence. Here comes the Graviton Surge, but Darkin goes down instantly. Spider-Man answers on back, and Dagosteam once again. You talked about being one of the linchpins of the team, and Dagosteam has been a rock, a foundation for TSN, and he has held it down here on Hollywood.
And we are finally seeing the panic picks with Godman switching over to the Doomfist, just trying to touch point. We have 7 seconds left. Will they be able to reach? Spider Agony is also switching onto the Hammond, but 2, 1, will he get there?
Oh, Neofist comes in with the boot, making sure Godman can't even touch. And that is going to be a complete shutdown of Quad Gaming's push here on Point A of Hollywood. And Katrina, we got to talk about Darkin, because that man was a beast.
That man was amazing coming in there. Leon, who has also eaten many a Graviton Surges, was not able to get a single one. Darkin is the hero of this round for sure, but without the enabling of Dagosteam, of Jules, of Daily, let's just say the entire of the Suquinho Nation, Darkin would not have been able to receive that much charge, be able to manage that so quickly. But what I'm most impressed with is the patience and just the ultimate economy overall of TSN. I did say before, for Darkin's Graviton Surge, that very first one, not a single self-destruct, not a single Earth Shatter was invested. They were holding on to those vital ultimates so they could win all of the ensuing team fights. So very well played from TSN against all of the odds after missing one of their favorite support players. They are managing to create quite a show for us today, Jamerson.
Yeah, they are not skipping a beat at this very important juncture for both of these teams. Remember, playoff implications abound. TSN, if they get a huge victory here, they can just push themselves up to the 3rd slot, to the 3rd seed in Group A, and avoid facing off against, well, LFTOWL more than likely. Quad Gaming needed a 4-0, and now, even if they get the reverse sweep, they are basically on a collision course with LFTOWL. So TSN, they've got everything going for them now. As we go into the offense here, it's going to be once again Mirrored Goats versus Goats. We'll see. Darkin's already 5 laps ahead of Agus on the Zarya battles. How will they can enable this?
Yes, right now, as we do see the teams moving forward, it's going to be a very aggressive push from Quad Gaming with XQC on a budget being extremely aggressive, already stunned.
Jules dropped down low. He's going to be able to hold up his shield now, and they're going to punish Godman for it. A goose goes down. That's 2 key members of Quad Gaming gone, and all the tanks have lost except for Leon, and they're going to be able to clean that up. Point is contested, but it's just a matter of time. TSN just making a statement out of the first 2 maps here. They will take it. They're going to take a 2-0 lead, and now they're sitting on match point.
TSN really does want to get this 4-0 victory just for a statement against the rest of South American contenders. Yes, we have lost so many players who are integral to our composition, but we can still make it with everything, with, oh my gosh, all of those ultimates, all of those graviton surges, Jamerson. Right now, that just makes me want to practice my Zarya.
You know, I'm a little disappointed he wasn't able to get another Graviton Surge up. I'm sorry. You know, you're letting me down now, Darkin.
All right, so like 30 seconds with 50% charge. I think you're being a little critical there.
The thing was, though, like, he was on pace for almost 30 seconds. But you know what? Let's try and slow things down just a little bit, because the pace of this match has been absolutely absurd. There wasn't much match to actually go over, but you know what? Des, go ahead and take it away and try your best.
Well, you know what? You're not wrong. TSN has looked so dominant, but that's what we expected out of them when we looked at this team at the beginning of the season. We expected them to be up there with the likes of LFO and the base tryhards. So this is a TSN I'm happy to see and plausible. They have had some roster swaps, and today it seems to be clicking. What is this new TSN we're seeing?
Yeah, it's fun. It's kind of funny. This is the TSN we expected to see at the beginning of the season, but the roster is not what we expected to see at the beginning of the season, right? So last week they lost Lubuk. He went over to base tryhards. So Darkin, their former off tank, went on to DPS. They brought in Daggersteam, a new off tank, and now this week their normal flex support player, Rain Kiyoshi, is subbed out for Spider Agony. But Spider Agony is a DPS player, and they know that, so they put him on that DPS role and moved Delavigne, who's normally the DPS player, onto flex support. And surprisingly enough, it has worked out perfectly, and their coordination is a level we haven't seen from them yet. Other than 1 or 2 odd rotations from them that we saw on Ilios, this has been a clean team. They're using abilities at the right times. They're peeling for the proper players when they need to. Darkin, as the casters were saying, insane. 4 grabs in 4 minutes, where on the other side it was 1 grab in 4 minutes. Exactly 1. Like, that is just an insane outclass of mechanical skill.
So these team rotations we're seeing, Frito, we're watching these rotations all the way around the well. Now, interesting on Ruins, but even then on to Hollywood, we're seeing aggressive play surge forward and then dialing it back appropriately. I mean, what are some of the big key factors when you want to play this way for TSN?
Well, at the start of the cast, we mentioned that TSN's mechanics individually is something that we would look to, and their team play has been good as well, but I just want to highlight when we say the word rotation to explain what that exactly means. It's your relationship to the fight as things break out, right? So on well, it's the easiest place to describe that because it's like a ring around the rosy around the well. They aggress forward, and they're playing a McCree or Risa composition that should lose to Ryan running them down, but if you rotate appropriately and run away from them, you always keep your range, and then Darkin keeps putting in the damage. And in all of these fights, beyond the first one on Ruins, I would say that they've kept the rotations up to snuff. And in the chaos of the fight, especially in the ult fights, when big ults get traded, there was points there where Quad popped 2 support ults to sustain on the top of the ramp. But we see TSN not over push into the enemy, not overextend, and especially when you compare to like XQC on a budget, his Reinhardt is playing a bit more fast and loose, leaving the core of the team fight and not being there for his team when it needs him. There's points where like he's pinning across point A, which just leaves your whole team kind of stranded, which is the reason why we're seeing Darkin charge up so much Graviton Surge. He keeps his charge, you're not being able to focus him, and they're able to make him a pillar in the team fight, rotate around him, keep him safe, and they just keep bringing out these ultimates, and that's how you get a full hold on Hollywood.
So it's not quite done for Quad. They still have a chance to bring this back, but even if they were to win the reverse sweep, they will be in 4th place now. So TSN is looking strong, and they want to carry that into the second half. But we're gonna go to a break real quick while we get all the casters and whatnot sorted out and ready to go for the second half. So we'll see you in just a bit.
All right, welcome back, guys. Just before the break, we saw TSN take a commanding 2-0 lead up against Quad Gaming. Jamerson here, joined once again by Katrina. And Katrina, this match has gone by so quickly. What are you expecting from this next map as we move on to, of course, the Assault map?
Well, let's just say South American Contenders does not like space whatsoever. I believe we've only gone to Horizon Lunar Colony twice throughout this entire season, so I'm anticipating we will be taking a visit over to Hanamura, but Genji and Hanzo will not be seen. We might have a Widowmaker come out on defense for TSN, as they did run last week that traditional bunker composition with Orisa, Widow, and Junkrat. However, that's quite unique to South American Contenders. We rarely do see that Orisa matchup, so I am curious to see if TSN will be repeating this.
Yeah, so no Shimada's in play. I mean, too many bad memories for the brothers. So unfortunate. But yeah, you mentioned it. We did get to see that bunker strat coming out. Now, it comes with, mixed degrees of success. But I mean, could we also expect something like a Sombra? I mean, we saw it earlier today from our other matches. Sombras, Doomfist, Pharahs, lots of things are in play. What are you expecting out from like Quad Gaming?
I wish I could say that we were going to see this Sombra. There is a potential, as Sombra is so powerful onto CP, especially as we do go to point B of Hanamura. However, I have to say, we will most likely be seeing that triple tank, triple support GOATS composition. I think with classic Reinhardt, I think we're going to get, as our favorite, some of our favorite casters say, very aggressive eye contact coming between these Reinhardts, as the Earthshatter timings have been, let's just say, a bit countered on Hollywood, as there were some shield bashes and a lot of blocking. So even though there have been extremely successful Graviton surges coming in from Darkid especially, both of these Reinhardts have a lot to prove as we do go on to these next maps.
Yeah, I mean, as these Reinhardts go for the swing, you know, it's kind of like an ERA of like, really low, 0.01. I don't even know if that's an actual ERA, but it has not, you know, worked out so far. We saw one clean 3-man, 4-man Earthshatter earlier on, but beyond that, they've been mostly blocked and also just completely interrupted. But still, for the most part, Jules versus XQC on a budget, it's been Jules coming out on top. And, you know, right now the team play for TSN is looking absolutely just superb. Especially considering that they've brought in, of course, they've got a substitute in Spider Agony, and you know, with the myriad of changes they've made up to this roster in the last 2 weeks, I'm surprised that they're performing this well. And you mentioned that you were also surprised that they're doing this well right now.
Yes, I'm frankly shocked, but even more so, we are actually going to Horizon Lunar Colony. Quad Gaming has decided to surprise everyone with this map pick, so I'm expecting to see a little bit of craziness coming out of their compositions, maybe changing things up completely. However, I think this bunker composition with Jules still on that Orisa is still a very viable option, especially due to De La Vigne's stellar Widowmaker performances, and we did see his McCree doing quite well earlier today, so we might see him on the hit scan as opposed to that Zenyatta.
Yeah. I mean, point A, of course, Horizon Lunar Colony. A lot of people do just favor running that Orisa with the D.Va on the high ground. And you can basically run any combination of DPS at that point that you want to, but Junkrats and Widowmakers are going to be abound. And so you had said it yourself. It's just a lot of wrenches thrown into the works. Quad Gaming taking this to Horizon, which they have not played, which TSN... Suquinho has not played all season long, and so we have no clue what's going to happen in this match.
It is a clean slate, and that is exactly what Quad Gaming wants right now. They want to just wash away that, let's just say, quite difficult first half of this round, and they are looking to start off with a fresh new start. As we do look at Horizon Lunar Colony, we might be seeing that Sombra Doomfist combination that you were hoping for coming in from the defense of TSN. And it's everyone's favorite healer, well, at least mine, Negofest on that Ana. I do love Ana's utility overall, but as we do look at De La Vigne and Negofest on these very slow supports, I'm curious to see if Quad Gaming will eventually swap off onto a dive composition. Now, the biggest red flag as I am looking at Quad Gaming's composition is Ram on that Moira. I am a bit confused at this pick. We don't see it too often. And if Negofest is able to land an amazing anti-nade, that'll negate most of Ram's capabilities as a support hero.
Yeah, Leon is going to have to be on top of that defense, make sure to shut that down. And Spider Agony just making sure his intentions are well known as he goes on in, throws XQC on a budget up, but he doesn't get the connect onto the wall, so he actually stays alive there, which is pretty huge as they get to heal that up. And so that's going to be a lot of ultimate charge for Panchi, for Godman here, as Godman's already at 40% towards a rally. Negofest on the other side as an Ana is over at 50% now. And so the rotation comes out from Quad Gaming as they're making their way onto the point. Jules has to be careful, but he's able to back away now. Spider Agony with the combo is able to just disrupt him and keep his main tank alive.
Yes, and right now as the rotation does come in for Quad Gaming, they do have the positional advantage as Jules once again uses that tickling Tesla ray to try to make his presence heard, but XQC on a budget is very protected.
Oh, Jules this time doesn't have the help of Spider Agony, who jumps on in. Great boop, but the Transcendence is there. Spider Agony, with the help of the Zenyatta, takes out a Goose as they go for the charge, but it's onto the Zenyatta, who's still in that Transcendence now. Now they do pop that sound barrier along with all of the support ultimate as the Coalescence comes on out. They're on the chase for De La Vigne, and he will go down. Quad Gaming playing this battle of attrition. This is starting to come up ahead here as Spider Agony getting chased down. He will get cleaned up, and Quad Gaming, with still 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock, we'll take this, add another 4 minutes, move on to point B.
I still am quite frustrated at the overlap of support ultimates. This is the second map in a row where Quad has done so, and right now the idea of a snowball, it still could happen with Agus and XQC on a budget, both having that Earth Shatter and Graviton Surge, but there's so little sustain for Quad.
There it is, the EMP comes on out, and that is the great equalizer coming in. Quad Gaming, they had to rely upon, of course, that Earth Shatter and that Graviton Surge, but hey, you're just hacked up, you can't use it. XQC on a budget does get the DMech onto Dagger's team, but at the end of the day, Suquinho Nation, they are going to be able to stabilize coming to this next fight.
That's going to be a major stagger for Dago's team, as there are not a lot of opportunities for environmental leaps of faith, let's just say, for that D.Va to remech. So there is quite an advantage for Quad Gaming as they do come in, especially for Agus, who will not be able to have his Graviton Surge eaten.
Primal Rage along with that Doomfist on the field as the Graviton Surge comes down, connects onto Jules and Spider Agony. They will clean that up. 3 members gone now for the defense here, as Leon is right on top of the supports, making sure they cannot get on out. And now the Transcendence will be used. Dago's team is able to stay alive for now as the self-destruct comes out. Now Dago's team gets finished off here, and it's all gonna be Quad Gaming here as a huge Earth Shatter comes out from the remaining trickling members. Spider Agony barely stays alive with that Meteor Strike, tries to jump down and play splats on that Frogger, but no. Lucio will stay alive now, and it's all Quad Gaming. Ram does go down to the sleep dart, but he takes a well-earned rest here as Quad Gaming will continue to clean this up, and with plenty of time on the board, they'll take point B.
Oh, they were so close to the point. They didn't get on the point. Oh, TSN. You hate to see it. It has an extremely convincing first attack with almost 5 minutes remaining on Horizon Lunar Colony. It looks like their strategy to change everything up might just work.
I mean, it's kind of sort of like how when Horizon originally launched, right? And it came out into competitive play, a lot of like the lower tier teams or like unfavored teams would go ahead and take it to Horizon instead of whatever the other map choice was, just because a lot of teams were unfamiliar with it. And it looks like, you know, playing an entire contender season without an actual regular season match with it has gotten Suquinho Nation just a little bit rusty, allowing Quad Gaming to just push this with 5 minutes left on the clock.
Yes, but they will have an opportunity to have an extremely effective attack of their own, and it does look like Spider Agony might be playing that Widowmaker on attack. I'm so excited to see this new player. That Doomfist was absolutely brilliant first point, the last to sustain, and we do have a quick pause as we do head to the next round, but it does look like Ponchi will be on the Mercy.
Yeah, it was just an excellent play coming out from Quad Gaming. We'll see, though, if they can, you know, get this reverse sweep going. Remember, the winner of this matchup will go on to the playoffs. It just depends on which seed they will do it in. We'll find out how this match breaks down just after this short break, though.
the pistol forming in my chest. I'm about to say some things that I regret. I talk myself in circles all night long and sleep through the morning. Is it my fault? Is it my fault? Is it my fault I can't keep these thoughts at rest? Is it my fault if I can't calm myself down? They won't let me take a breath. Is it my fault? Is it my fault? Is it my fault? Is it my fault I can't keep these thoughts at rest? Is it my fault if I can't calm myself down? They won't let me take a breath. Keep counting change to buy myself some time to sort through my neoplastic mind. If I run away and change my name, then maybe I'll find a new perspective in time. Is it my fault? Is it my fault? Is it my fault I can't keep these thoughts at rest? Is it my fault if I can't calm myself down? They won't let me take a breath. Is it my fault? Is it my fault? Is it my fault? Is it my fault? Is it my fault I can't keep these thoughts at rest? Is it my fault if I can't calm myself down? They won't let me take a breath. I felt like running through the pouring rain. I felt like letting go of my mind. I felt it coming with no ground to brace. I think I just might be bad for you. Drowning by the fact that I don't need a reason to be bad for you. I'm losing my head when I'm mad for you. I'm losing my head when I'm mad for you. slow. Oh, just a little damage, but with you I don't wanna be here. I felt like running through the pouring rain. I felt like letting go of my mind. I felt it coming with no ground to embrace. I think I just might be bad for you. Drowning by the fact that I don't need a reason to be bad for you. I'm losing my head, no, I'm not for you. I'm mad for you, for you, for you.
I can see you clearly again.
Welcome back to Overwatch Contenders South America Week 5, day number 1. Important match going on right now. The Suquinho Nation taking on Quad Gaming TSN up by 2. But we do have a pause in the game. It's a technical difficulty, and it looked like it was XQC on a budget who had blue screened. And so at this point, they are out of their allotted pause time as we go into this map. And that means, throughout the rest of Horizon, unless he can get back into the game, Katrina, they're going to be a man down.
It's a really difficult situation for Quad Gaming, especially after they had such a shift in momentum with that incredible first attack. But right now, all we can do is hope that XQC on a budget will be able to get back into the game. However, for map 4, if he is not able to return, there will be able to be a sub. But this is a very difficult position for Quad, as they are already down 2-0. One more map win will give TSN the victory.
It's an unfortunate reality of, when you have to play online throughout these matches. And so as we load back on in, as the pause gets ended, Quad Gaming, as you can see, Stro, or XQC on a budget. Well, I guess we don't have to mention the name anymore. We don't have to read it anymore.
He's gone, sadly.
Yeah. The Quad Gaming means that they're down a main tank, and in a meta where your main tank is a very important factor, it is, what do they do here? So it's going to be Leon shifting over to the Aristo role. Both the Junkers are going to come out. It looks like Ram goes over to the Roadhog, and Godman goes over to the Junkrat, and they're going to play solo support. And this is the best that they can actually pull out.
Yes, at least they will have that resurrection coming in from Ponchi. And Roadhog is my favorite hero in this entire game, Jamerson. Typically, I would be thrilled to see this pick. However, this is just quite sad. But Leon, who typically does play Diva, hopefully we'll be able to initiate that halt hook combination, that pulled pork to bring out a kill. But Godman gets that first pick on De La Vigne.
Yeah, that's all you really need. Just a little bit of poke coming out from the Widowmaker, and of course the damage boosted. Just nades and the mines. So much damage. Godman, though, for that elimination, only got 20% towards his ultimate. As TSN, they're going to just try and mow them down. Speed boosting right on top of them. Augusto here in the back line. No one contesting him whatsoever. He's getting some free chip damage off. Has to be careful, though, as he's completely split off from the rest of his team. But the Diva, Dago's team, is going to run out of boosters. He's still able to contest the high ground against him. Nagus is going down low. He will fall, and now it's going to be a 4v5 on the point. As soon as Dago's team gets here, though, it's going to be a 4v6, and that is it. TSN will clean them up and take point A, move straight on to point B.
There is a luxury in having an additional player, and Dago's team was able to let the rest of TSN take that first point while dealing with most likely the most terrifying threat coming in from Quad, August on that Widowmaker. There's ultimates online for TSN, with Jules having this Earth Shatter. However, Godman is going to use this Riptire.
Riptire coming in from spawn here. Quad Gaming are looking just to hold on here, try to delay the timing, but Dago's team takes out Ponchi. That is the only support for Quad Gaming. They've got the sound barrier, they've got 3 eliminations. Ram's trying his best with the deflect here, but as soon as it dissipates, he will go down. Emergency Doomfist comes into play, but there's nothing that Quad Gaming can do here, as they're just trickling onto the point one by one. Earth Shattered solo onto a Goose, and that's going to be it. TSN now with a commanding time lead here, is Quad Gaming still not able to get Stro back into this game.
Yes, Quad Gaming will have the opportunity to attack first due to their shorter amount of time remaining on the clock. I mean, as of course they were defending with only 5 players, we will have quite a long Horizon Lunar Colony, but I would be extremely impressed if Quad is able to take point A, even though there is that attackers now.
Yeah, potential. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Potential 11 minutes, 12 minutes left. But
Yeah.
man, that defense really just, showed why you need a 6v6. It's an unfortunate reality of the situation that you're placed in because of the rule set. They tried their best. 15 minutes, waited for XQC to fix his computer, but what can you do to fix a computer in 15 minutes at this point now? Quad Gaming, it looks like they are going to go for just a dive composition. They've got the Genji, they've got the Tracer along with that Wrecking Ball.
I'm not sure if they're actually going to stick with this. I will be a bit concerned if they do. Godman on that Wrecking Ball, this is Hammond's home. He should know all of the nooks and crannies of this map extremely well. However, when you're going up against that high sustained GOATS composition with TSN, and they have another player, This is just heartbreaking. I'm sorry, Jamerson. This is quite sad. But Godman will be coming out on this wrecking ball, going to be initiating alongside Ram. But Leon is taken down quite low, and Ponchi's taken out.
Wow. They were just able to be very aggressive with their defense there. And so now they do have, of course, the flankers making onto the point. They're going to try their best to at least sneak in a tick. But Godman has to roll on out. That allows a Goose to come in and take out De Levine. Leon picks up a second kill. Darkin going down. TSN just really overestimating their abilities. You know, even if you're in a 5v6, you have to be careful here. And they were not doing that whatsoever, creating a huge opening for Quad Gaming here.
Yes, major mistake coming in from TSN, underestimating their opponent. But right now, as we do see Godman swinging away on that wrecking ball, we're about to see an amazing pile driver. We could see even a first point, but right now, those spawns are coming back with Darkin switching over to that wrecking ball to get back quicker.
Yeah, Wrecking Ball versus Wrecking Ball here, and you know, surprisingly, TSN, they were able to stabilize, did not give away a tick, but here we go. The Wrecking Ball going in, it's gonna be Godman dropping low, and no one is there to back him up, even though they have this highly mobile composition. And Ram on the Genji and Leon on the Tracer, they just did not execute after they had that advantage. They had a 5v4 on the points, but just slowed down off the gas.
We have seen that from Quad before. When they do have that advantage, they haven't necessarily been aggressive enough to take pure advantage of that. So right now, as we do see the ultimates coming in from Quad, we're about to have a full set of 5 ultimates. So this is truly their opportunity to surprise Suquinho Nation, who only have Rally right now.
Now, Ponchi, he's about to come up with that Valkyrie, which is going to be huge. This dive composition wants to get into the back line here, and you want the chain healing. But the Pulse gets nothing now. Ram goes in. He's got that blade out. He's trying to go after the Brigitte, but it's going to be De Levine. And Daggerstein coming up with 2 kills for TSN, and they will hold on to the point here, and they just were not able to do anything. Quad Gaming were with all their ultimates, and they spent the last 2 minutes building up that bank, and it's now all gone.
Yes, major investment from Quad Gaming. They have lost everything. And I'm curious to see if we will see any compositional changes coming in from this team. Darkin is still staying on this wrecking ball, is 70% to that minefield. Such a perfect map for that specific ultimate, but even scarier is Nigo Fist Sound Barrier. His timing with these ultimates has been crazy, but oh, that snipe!
You prepped me for this. Agoose on that Widowmaker is the difference maker right now, but still it is not enough. Coming with a huge pick onto De Levine here, but Darkin taking out Ponchi. That just spells the end of that push. They have to back away, but oh, Darkin is on the hunt. He says, this is my home ground. This is my map. You're not going to be able to play Widow here. So Agoose will fall now. 2 minutes left for Quad Gaming on their second attack.
2 minutes left, 5 ultimates on the side of the defense, and right now here comes a very angry hamster about to attack the point right now with Godman only deciding now to retreat back. Leon does have that pulse bomb available, and Ponchi has been taken out very early every fight. Now we'll have to be extremely aggressive as this Mercy, as they finally have an advantage. De Levine is down.
They're down, and now they're ready to pull the trigger here as Ram is trying his best to focus down Jules here. Jules is not receiving any healing at all whatsoever, but the armor pack comes in, brings him back very nearly to full as Leon has to be careful. He does have the Brigitte onto him, and Spider Agony doesn't even have to shield bash. He just takes him out with the regular swings as Godman comes in. He does have that minefield, playing a little bit zoning, but the self-destruct clears that minefield out now. The bombies are gone as Ram is trying his best. He's got another blade out. He's on top of De Lavinia. He takes a little bit of damage, but the sound barrier is there. He is not going to get much at all as Spider Agony backs him up. And that's going to be Suquinho holding on to this point once again now. Quad Gaming down to a minute.
Yes, right now with Ponchi being once again sniped out by De Lavigne, I think this last single fight will have to rely on August. If he's able to get key kills onto De Lavigne and Nigo Fist, that could be a victory condition for Quad Gaming. However, with Jules, being taken down very low by August, having that Earth Shatter, Ram's going to have to be very careful on that flanking Genji.
Now, this is important that, you know, the chip damage is going across, but they're not able to finish because they did hit that. Reinhardt is De Lavigne coming back. Agoose has gone down. They will be able to res that, but do you really want to res a Widowmaker? Ponchi gives his life for it. Now, Agoose has to make something happen now. They're down to 20 seconds here. It's the last fight. De Lavigne going completely uncontested. Remember, it is a 5v6, and they're trying their best. Quad Gaming is, but TSN on the verge of securing a 3-0, securing their spot in the playoffs here as Leon, he's got the pulse bomb, throws it out, gets nothing of it. 3 seconds left now. Time is ticking away. No one's going to be able to touch it. Quad Gaming did no progress whatsoever here on point A.
Yes, and right now only a single tick will be needed for TSN to, as you said, lock in that playoff contention. Not necessarily the victory that they might have been hoping for in terms of competitiveness, but hey, a win is a win, and all they have to do is take 33%. I would not be surprised if TSN is still respectful of their opponent, most likely going to be running that triple tank, triple support goats composition for that sustain. I'm more curious to see what Quad decides to come out with. They have 6 minutes and 18 seconds and 5 players and a lot of prayers between them and playoffs. So Leon is teasing that Hanzo pick. Right now, though, things are looking quite grim, Jamerson. I'm sorry.
Double sniper is definitely, of course, something that can just be on the table here, and I think Quad Gaming did the best that they could.
Oh, for sure.
In the given situation, Ponchi going over to the Mercy, I actually do like. She's getting that solo healing. That means she's gonna have that Valkyrie. The chain heal is huge, especially if they're only playing the solo tank because, well, they're forced into it. Right now, though, Quad Gaming changing up their game plan just a little bit, kind of figuring out what they want to go for here. But Ponchi going onto the Lucio is gonna make it very difficult for them to try and sustain a defense on point A here is TSN, Suquinho Nation. They're going to go for the triple tank. It's only 2 supports, though, in Lucio and Brigitte, and then Lavinia, who's already warmed up on this Widowmaker.
Yes, once again, Quad will be relying on August and Ram on that Genji and Doomfist, trying to get those early picks, but they will have to do that for every single fight for this to be successful.
They are hunting down D'Agostine. They're going to get that D-Mech here, and this is what they need. The 1-for-1 exchange of Goose has gone down here, but now, of course, they've already started off with a man advantage, and that gets compounded when they trade away like this. As Spider Agony gets a great charge onto Ram, and now they're making the rotation onto the point. Godman tries his best, but the point is going to tick up in the favor of Suquinho Nation, and they will take the 3-0. This is their match. They will walk away. The playoffs in firm hands for them.
Yes, a big congratulations to the Suquinho Nation for their victory. They will be going to playoffs, and they have earned it throughout this season. They have faced such adversity, as we did mention before, losing key players, picking up new acquisitions, putting in a lot of trust into their coaching staff to maintain their success. They started off these rounds with an amazing bang in week 1, winning 4-0 against Predators, and they might end up their regular season with a 4-0 against Quad. All it comes down to is whether or not Quad will be able to take this final map.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, it's all about pride. It's about leaving it all out on the field because until Trials finishes up and you're playing in the relegations, the promotion matches, you're not going to have any other avenue to really try and show off your skill here. So you can't give up. You just can't give up. And Quad Gaming did not give up. Despite being down 5v6, we saw some great performances coming out of some of their players.
Yes, absolutely phenomenal. And as we do see, Ram was quite successful on that Moira during their first attack, especially when it was indeed that 6v6 fight. This was the most dominant we saw Quad this entire matchup, and I am quite sad that this was the map where they did have the disconnect, because this could have translated into a victory for them, especially with that surprise Horizon Lunar Colony pick. But moving forward, this is the path to pro. So many of the players have the opportunity to show off their skills, as you were saying, and August might be getting some scouting attention right now, as he was phenomenal on that Widowmaker, getting so many key headshots and almost getting Quad Gaming a single tick on his own practically.
Honestly, if all things had held equal, if they still had, Stro in the matchup, with the picks that they were getting on their offense, coming out from August and Leon on the Tracer, he was actually putting in work too. If they didn't have that man disadvantage, if getting a pick didn't mean they had to play a 5v5 and even fight, they could have pushed point A again and point B again. We were, we thought we were in store for what, like a 6-6, 7-8 kind of score line here on Horizon with the way things were going. Is just playing that far behind. It's terrible to try and get back from it. It's terrible that we're in that reality where they have to play a man down, but they still persevered, I would say. They did not just give up. They did not lay down and take this willingly. Coming into the fourth map, though, South America's been pretty heavy on a certain map once we go into the full S-Core map type. So what are you expecting as we go into map number 4?
Well, we have just found out, actually. I could have been like, oh, yeah, I know exactly what's about to happen. But I'll be honest with you today, Jamerson. We are going to Route 66. I am very excited for this map. There is a lot of opportunity for Doomfist, for Sombra, for Widowmaker, everything that these players have been waiting so long to pull out. And I'm really looking forward to seeing August potentially on that Doomfist once more. But TSN also has some very viable picks for this map. I'm curious to see if XQC on a budget has come in, but no, it does look like we will have a substitution, and I'll be watching that player, Natter. He will be coming in.
Yeah, interesting. TSN were the team that started off with the subs, Spider Agony coming in.
Right.
Now, Quad Gaming do have to sub in themselves. Going back to subbing, though, for TSN, they started off with Spider Agony coming in. They had to make some swap-offs around. We were talking about this before the matchup, losing Lubak early on, losing one of their star DPS. It looks like, that Spider Agony does have some chops, DPS chops himself. So are we expecting a bit more what we saw from TSN earlier on in the season here on Route 66?
I am expecting it to have a great show for Spider Agony, as this is his first time on the screen for South American Contenders. This is his opportunity to show what he has. The victory is already in the bag for TSN. Now they will want to show off their strongest heroes, their strongest compositions, so that potentially some more scouts can see them. But there is also the question of whether or not they will hide strategies, as we are going to be going into playoffs. So I hope we do get to see those picks, but right now we might even see that triple tank, triple support to avoid sharing of those compositions. Now, as we do look at the defenses, oh, you're going to be excited for this one, Jamerson. We're going to have a Sombra Doomfist.
Yeah, this we got to see at the beginning of Season 2 Contenders that the Sombra Doomfist composition, just the duo alone is so potent. The Sombra with the infinite, of course, stealth is able to scout out and set up the dive. So Spider Agony now taking up the mantle of the DPS for his team. He is ready. Dagger's team doing early scouting with that Diva mech, but oh no! We've got a Bastion in play for Quad Gaming here. They're just gonna go full on pirate ship. They don't have, of course, the Orisa, but they have a lot of tools they could just put into him now. As Suquinho Nation looking for the dive. We'll see if they're able to get onto them. Darkin not able to get the hack off, but there it is. De Lavinia from long range was able to take out a goose. Punchy does have the res, but no. They are right on top of him, not able to get the Bastion back on up, and now Quad Gaming, they played the gambit. They tried the Bastion. They had to swap off.
It was very fun while it lasted. However, as many pirate ships, and they are just sunk into the sea, and August will be switching over to a McCree of his own. I am a little surprised not to see that favored Widowmaker, but when you do look at Suquinho Nation's composition, that just stun, that CC ability from McCree is so vital against Spider Agony's Doomfist and Dark and Sombra. Maybe he'll even be able to stun her out of that EMP, which is at 90% almost.
Yeah, and take a look. Godman swaps over. Actually, all the supports do, as Ponchi goes over to Lucio, Natter goes over to the Ana. So they're going to dump a lot of sustain into this matchup. They're going to try and keep a goose alive, Leon alive, but now we have the Natter boost on out with the EMP, and Spider Agony, like an interballistic missile, gets on in, takes him out. De Lavinia comes up with a double kill himself as Spider Agony nearly cleans up. Yeah, that is going to be 2/3 of the team.
That might have been the scariest thing I've ever seen in Overwatch, Jamerson. As a tank main myself, I am like shaking in my boots right now. A nano boosted Doomfist is not fair, I feel. But right now, as we do see Quad Gaming, I'd like to talk a little bit about those supports. We typically do see a Brigitte in this composition due to the armor and the area of effect healing. So it's going to be very difficult for Quad Gaming to protect one another from this Sombra, who is about to eye Godman on that Zenyatta with the hack.
It's the lurk and Spider Agony. He's looking for the jump in, and there we go. They give him the information, and they focus down Ram. Even with the Meteor Strike, takes out Godman now, and Leon is not going to get away with his life here as Darkin finishes him off. And again, this is going to compound against Quad Gaming at this point. Remember, in the last fight, the fight before this, they used, it was the EMP along with the Nano Boost. They're getting back to that combo once again, but they've got the Primal, they've got the Transcendence along with the Self-Destruct, and Spider Agony should be able to build up another Meteor Strike.
But Quad Gaming has quite a few tools, but they don't have a Zenyatta anymore. August does get that kill, but Spider Agony gets revenge right away.
Oh, Earthshatter connects onto Spider Agony, but they're not going to be able to clean up on that. That was a huge moment for them to try and catch TSN overextending, but now it's Leon that's overextending, goes in for the charge, and he goes down now. They do trade away with Darkin going down, but oh no, another nano boost. De La Vigna is able to follow up with it as Spider Agony helps him clean up too, and now another Meteor Strike as Natter doesn't have a speed boost at all. Spider Agony. Word. I'm going to say hashtag word.
Oh my gosh, this is my living nightmare if I was on the side of Quad Gaming with Spider Agony just taking up so much space. Darkin is also so close to this EMP. I am curious to see what Quad Gaming will be able to do with 5 ultimates online. Natter does have that nano boost available. I'm most likely going to be going over to Leon on that Reinhardt, who will be able to charge an Earthshatter with all of that additional swinging ability.
He charges in, Sound Barrier is used by Quad Gaming, but they're not getting anything off of it right now. It's TSN, we're just able to kite away, and that is the strength of running this high mobility composition. As Quad Gaming try to take the initiative, they get nothing. EMP comes out, the self-destruct doesn't connect for Dagger's team, but that does split them up as Jules picks up Natter. It's a 2-for-1 exchange, still in favor of TSN. As Quad Gaming are gonna have to reset. Oh no, they can't, it's overtime now.
No, that is the end of the round, and Ram did use that Graviton Surge at the last moment. I wasn't sure if it was Eden or not, but right now, there is not much that TSN has to do to maintain this 4-0 victory. They only do need to push the payload around 60 meters, and they will have that 3rd place in playoffs.
That is incredibly important. Basically, if they're in 3rd place, they avoid the 1st seed. They'll face off against the 2nd seed of Group B, which we'll find out who's going to be 2nd seed later on this week on Saturday, which you and I will be casting, Katrina.
Yes.
Up versus Isurus, I believe. So if you know what, this match, Suquinho Nation, they've already secured it. If you're TSN, who do you want to face off against, Up Gaming or Isurus?
Oh, that's such a difficult question. Both of those teams are extremely talented, but I would have to say, I think TSN wants to face up against Isurus. Isurus did struggle a little bit at the beginning of the season, but revitalized this entire team, gained a lot of confidence, but Up Gaming has been so consistent throughout this season, relying on Edgicus and TH7, their star DPS players. Edgicus on the Doomfist, TH7 on the Sombra. We have seen them succeed just as much as TSN has in that last defense. So if they do play Up Gaming, they might be getting a taste of their own medicine, but either team will provide quite a fight for TSN. But is Spider Agony going to stay on this Torbjorn? I hope not. But
It's the last season of the regular season. Gotta go for it. You've already secured basically your spot in the playoffs. Why not? Why not Spider Agony? I think he actually might. He's at the doors, and we got a triple DPS solo support and Negofist on that Ana, but there it is. And Darkin has swapped off. Take a look at the DPS lineup coming out for Quad Gaming though. Ram now is gonna try for the Doomfist himself. Is Spider Agony taking a lot of poke here though? Now the dive comes out for Quad Gaming. Godman dropped low, but there they go. The damage has gone across. Daggersim is still on this Bastion though, and he has put in some work. Ram got hooked in, but he's able to kite away with the rest of the abilities. Still though, TSN pretty much far in the advantage here as Paunchy has to go straight towards his enemy spawn to try and stay alive, but he will fall down now. Oh, and this is a dangerous spot here. The Bastion is on the payload, and he is all set up.
Which is scarier to you, Jamerson? A nano-boosted Doomfist or a nano-boosted Bastion?
Luckily, it's not the buffed Bastion, right? Where he's got the reduced spread the longer he's firing, but still both are terrifying in their own right. Natter trying his best to stem the bleeding here. Spider Agony takes out Leon now on Quad Gaming. Everything going pear-shaped for them. Self-destruct connects, but the barrage along with the damage coming out from Dagger's team is going to be too much for Quad Gaming. Possibly. Spider now is going to clean it up, takes out the Diva, and now they're going to march forward. TSN is gonna wonder it looks like, taking the 4-0 up against Quad Gaming. That's gonna be Leon not able to get onto the point. TSN will walk away with a higher seed coming out of Group A.
Yes, TSN has a convincing 4-0 victory, well earned to this team who has struggled so much throughout the season. It has been a joy to watch them evolve and change, but also excellent gameplay coming from Quad Gaming, also dealing with so much adversity, especially today, having lost their main tank halfway through Horizon when the momentum was about to shift potentially. But that, unfortunately, is the reality of competition, Jamerson. All I can say is I'm so lucky to have seen this game.
Yeah, again, August just really showed off what he could do and showed that his Widowmaker is pretty darn good. It's just unfortunate situation that you're placed in. But that's going to be it for us. We will be back on Saturday, Cast Games 1 and 3 of the final day of the regular season. Thank you all. Thank you from Katrina. We're going to go ahead and send it back to the desk. Guys, go ahead and break down this match.
Breaking down this match is a little interesting, as we didn't really see too much competition in the second half, which is so unfortunate because Horizon started off so good for Quad Gaming, but sadly that disconnect basically spelled doom for them. So a little unfortunate, but TSN has claimed the 3rd seed spot in the playoffs. And you know what? They're looking pretty good. Maps 1 and 2, they had team coordination, individual popping off, and that's what you want to have this late in the season going into the playoffs. So what can we expect from TSN moving forward into the playoffs, Frito?
Well, I was excited to see their GOATs matchup look pretty disciplined. That's something that I thought was a weakness for them for the most of the season. It's something you're definitely going to need, especially against some of those Group B teams who are definitely well versed in it. Maybe not even so much up in Isris, which I suppose are the matchup that they're looking for. But beyond that, definitely GOATs, of course, is really important. So I'm happy to see them look a bit more practiced on that. Spider Agony really impressed me on the Brigida there, being very stable and controlling the front line. Overall, just their discipline in the chaos of those engagements was really strong. Not so convinced that the Doom Sombra was going to work out very well for them on Horizon. I think there's a reason why we see so much bunker defense set up there, because the chokes aren't so favorable for Doomfist to just like exploit and pull things out. They attempted to do that, get like some CC pulls, but it never really panned out. So that, I think that map more or less was that they weren't prepared to go there. I mean, nobody picks it. And as Katrina and Jamerson explained, unfortunately, that looked like that may have been a turning point in this series. But overall, I was still pretty confident that TSN was going to pull it out. We'll never know, unfortunately. But I think the confidence of this team in understanding the meta and kind of gelling a bit as a team is looking good moving forward.
Well,
if you don't mind,
sorry. It was a turning point, just not quite the turning point that Quad Gaming wanted. But Paulsable, what did you want to add to the Horizon Lunar Colony conversation?
Well, I was going to add into Suquinho's future, right? When we're talking about playoffs, right? Because don't get me wrong, they looked better today. They looked much cleaner on the GOATs composition than we have seen them before. But no matter how Saturday turns out, they're either going up against Isris or Up Gaming, like Jamerson and Katrina were talking about. And Quad Gaming, we talked about them as a decent GOATs team, right? Their GOATs in the past has looked serviceable, but Up Gaming and Isris are very good GOATs teams, right? Outside of the first week, Isris has looked excellent since they brought in Matias, and Up Gaming has never faltered on that GOATs composition. And they've got a Doomfist Sombra of their own that I think blows what we saw from TSN today out of the water. So TSN, you've still got some work to do over the weeks leading into playoffs.
And luckily there are weeks. You got a little bit of a gap here. It's not like they have to play this game, right around the corner. So there will be time to prep, go over these mechanics, go over this team play. So let me ask both of you this question: is if you had to pick something that they really need to just work on and make sure is there as a team for the playoffs, what is it? Let's start with you, Plausible.
I'm gonna go with they need to get their roster sorted out, right? Don't get me wrong, they pulled out today with a good look, but I don't think Delavigne on Zen is necessarily the place you want him. Don't get me wrong, excellent projectile player, and he did not get caught out today as you would hope from a support player, right? But Delavigne, we know him as one of the better DPS in this region, right? We nicknamed him here at Broadcast.gg Della Ding for a reason. We've seen his Widowmaker. He's a standout DPS player, and you need to put him on a role where he can carry harder.
Frito, what about you? What do they need to lock in for playoffs?
I don't know if I would focus so much on that because, as Paul expertly explained, the other side group GOATS matchup is superior than where TSN is at right now, or has been in the past, but they have leveled up in that regard, but they will definitely have to level up even a step further with, especially I would say, their combos, with landing some of those key abilities when the chaos of the fight breaks out, being able to peel back, restructure. They did that against Quad today, but up against a more seasoned GOATS team, they'll be looking to make those crazy ult fight swing back plays on you, and they have to be ready with the bubbles or their own counter bash shatters in the mix of the fight. And on their trajectory, I would say they may be heading towards that, but they'll definitely want to iron that out to have a chance in playoffs, because there's some heavy hitters over there in Group B.
Very, very, very true. And speaking about Group B, we have all of those games coming up on Saturday. So if you enjoy Overwatch and you want to see more of it, make sure you tune in then. It's going to be Saturday at 4 p.m. is when everything kicks off with Isurus versus Up Gaming. So the match that matters for TSN, followed by Black Dragons versus LFT Owl, and the day wraps up with LFO versus Fury. It's going to be a lot of fun as we figure out who's going to be in what seed for the playoffs for Group B. So I hope to see you there. As far as this cast, we've had a great time. I've been Green Havoc. I've been joined by Paulsable and Frito here. A thank you to our casters earlier in the day, Hurix and Lemon Kiwi. And of course, thank you very much, Jamerson and Katrina, for all the work you did in this game and keeping a 5v6 very entertaining. You almost didn't feel the missing player with the energy you guys put into it. And of course, Bradley, our producer, for, well, keeping the show going. And until Saturday's games kick off, we'll see you on the ladder.